Hello, this week I'm looking at my final tank, the Sherman V. I expect after all the tanks that I've been building for this regiment, you're probably thinking, oh no, not another tank. But it is an important one to have in the collection. I wanted the Sherman V particularly because I want to match it up to some photographs that I've got from the Operation Market Garden, and so that's what I'll be focusing on this one to make it look like one of the photographs that I've got. But I do promise you, for the time being, this is the last tank video. I will be moving on to other vehicles after this. I've got a quad coming up, a universal carrier and a truck. So this is the last tank for now. Well, for this project. Right, let's crack this open, see what we've got inside. That's everything. Nicely illustrated on the back. Again, I won't be going with the hedge cutter on my version. And looking at it straight out of the bag, one thing I do notice, it looks like it's got a very similar gun arrangement to the Firefly in the sense that the barrel doesn't move up and down. It's not got that moving mechanism. It looks pretty much, you've got to put it in place and then it's fixed. Yeah, it's looking better, and it's got the sand skirt things, which again I'm not going to be using because they weren't very popular and most crews took them off. Very similar arrangement to the Firefly in the sense that none of the parts are numbered, nothing's numbered on the kit. That said, it does look really straightforward. Should be able to crack through it fairly quickly, and hopefully I've got no trouble this time with any mould issues. Right. I'll get the first bits clipped, ready, and we'll get cracking. Right, as usual, start with the tracks. These are fairly easy really, not many parts, and they went together really well, clicked into place. And then I turned to the front of the tank. And I've got to slot these eyepieces in from the back before I fix it to the actual tank itself. But they went in really smoothly as well. So, right, next I can start to put it together now and bring the tracks onto the main body. And here you can see that I'm doing my usual and giving it a bit of weight by putting some super glue and pennies in there. And that just gives it the weight that I like for my tanks. Then I can close it up, and once it's closed up, it's time to have a look at some of the fixtures and fittings for the back end of the tank. And most of these went on really well. It's a bit fiddly with the hoop tie things, but they went on okay, not a problem. And they look pretty effective when they're in place. So then I turn to the front of the tank, and as you can see, there's a fair few pieces, a couple of hatches and stuff, and the lamps, and they went together well. So then it's time to look at the turret, and this is when I spotted a little issue. Right, well, it's troublesome turret time again. I've put the first piece in, as you can see. got to this piece that I'm putting in now, and as you can see, if I can show that, put a bit of light on it, right in the centre there's supposed to be a locating hole for the barrel, and it wasn't there. So it's a moulding issue again, I think, because it doesn't say anything about having to make your own hole. But what I've done is I've just pierced it with my crafting knife so I can drive this all the way in so that it'll sit down in the hole properly, and then I can glue it in place. There's no point in it being even more vulnerable than it needs to be. So I just thought I'd come back and show you that, in case you come across the same thing and think, oh, I've done something wrong. It could be that you're unlucky like me and you've just got a moulding error where the hole's not there. Right, I'll put this back together and I'll come back to you. So once I've got the turret gun sorted out, it's time to turn to all the little fitments on the turret and the tank itself. Right, so the Sherman V is complete. It's looking really nice. Must admit, having worked on the Firefly before, I found this one a lot easier. I think I might have also stumbled across, I don't know whether you recall from the Firefly one, I found a little lamp for the front here where this one is. It may be that they've looked for kind of, there's a lot of crossovers between these kits, so it may be they've made one mould fits all, so some of the components for one and some for the other. Because the reason why I say that is the other box that sits on the back of the turret of the Firefly, there's one of those in the kit, but then alongside that there was a blanking plate, so you could fit it to just the one box on the back of the turret. So that may have explained the lamp thing as well, and the reason why there was no hole. Clearly this Sherman V has the lamp there. Whether the Fireflies didn't sometimes or never did, I don't know. I mean, I've fitted one to mine now, but it's not an issue really. But on the whole, I'm pretty pleased with the look of it. And as you can see, you know, it's there's not much in the way of any obvious gaps or anything once it's together. It feels fairly solid. Again, it's the same arrangement with the turret. You know, it just plops in the hole. It doesn't lock like some tanks do. But with the extras, the pieces of track and the wheel, I've actually modelled that on a photograph I found of the guards unit in Operation Market Garden. Whether you can see that very clearly, but I noticed there was a wheel there, a piece of track horizontal there, and another piece just there. And I can see there's some bags, and I may well be adding some of them, you know, when I get towards the painting stage. But you know, that's where I've aimed for, look. So I've put the wheel and the track pieces in the same place, with the exception of this one, because I've had to put it vertical instead of horizontal. But to be honest, that gives it a better coverage. It looks more natural on the model. But when it comes to doing the markings and everything, this one will probably be marked up with the 53 and everything from this particular model, because I like to have a little bit of that in my battles. I like to tip the wink to old photographs and things. And then with the additional wheel, I've put that on the back next to the jerry can. So that's that complete. I'll put this out of the way. As before, very little spares over. I've obviously got the figure, which I never use. I've got the box that I've explained from the Firefly. The skirts that weren't popular and were often taken off. In fact, I'm right in saying that picture that I've just shown you, I don't think they're on that. Just have another look myself. No, as you can see, they've not been attached. So I've got those, and then the other two sprues are spare. And then other than that, you've got the usuals. You've got your card, transfers. Again, it's got the guard unit symbols, so that'll go on there nicely. In fact, it's got the number 53, so that's ideal for this one. And then the damage indicator as well. So this is the version 3. You see they look very similar with the exception of these pieces that I've got on there, and no box on the back of it. And then if I bring back the Firefly, you can see how similar these are, but with the longer box arrangement on the back. And this one, there was no machine gun on this one, as I can see next to the barrel. I will double check that and go back and just see that I didn't miss it, but I believe it indicated that it wasn't there. Yeah, that'll make a nice little selection to work on, and I'll be painting them up, like I say, all together. This build was the last of my tanks, you'll be glad to hear. So in the coming weeks I'm going to be looking at a couple of my tow vehicles. I've got a quad and a universal carrier, and I've also got a 15 CWT truck. But before that, I'll probably be opening all 3 of those actually to take the troops out, because unlike the tanks, I do like to have a driver in my trucks if I can. And they've come with some, so, and with the universal carrier there's a few figures in the back as well, so I'm going to have a small collection of figures to do, so I'll probably be doing that in the next episode. And then I can press on with them, and then that will eventually bring this army to a completion. And I'm not going to say exactly where I'm going to go next, but obviously you know that I'm building towards having it all together on one table, going back across all my other videos, you know, with the buildings and the bridge. I think I've still got another building to make as well, but we're getting there. So thanks for joining me. I hope you found some of it interesting, and I hope it's, you know, useful. And if you have enjoyed it, please consider giving me a thumbs up, and maybe even subscribing and ticking that bell so you get to know when other videos drop. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.